In a competitive world, average won't cut it. The Success Launch Point shows you how to stand out, deliver massive value, and rise above the crowd. With on-demand courses, expert coaching, and a community focused on growth, you'll accelerate your career and your paycheck. It's time to level up. Check out modernobserver.com/launchpoint.
The government shutdown continues. Hamas attacks aid shipments. Working-class voters turn on the Democratic Party, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. The government shutdown enters its fifth week with more consequences. More than 65,000 children are at risk of losing access to Head Start, the National Child Care and Early Childhood Learning Program for low-income families, as more funding lapses hit centers in multiple states. Local Head Start programs receive their annual funding at different times of the year. Those that receive their annual budget on October 1st have already been disrupted. Now those scheduled to receive funding on November 1st have been impacted, as will those with December 1st funding dates if the shutdown continues. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said that he would not fire air traffic controllers who do not show up to work without pay during the government shutdown, and "We will slow traffic down. You'll see delays. We'll have flights canceled to make sure the system is safe," if there aren't enough air traffic controllers to cover shifts. Supplemental Nutrition Assistant Program, or SNAP benefits, formerly known as food stamps, could restart as early as Wednesday, according to a Sunday statement from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Amid the government shutdown, SNAP benefits have not been paid out for November to the roughly 40 million Americans who use them to help pay for groceries. Bessent's statement comes after two federal judges ruled on Friday that the Trump administration must address the SNAP stoppage as soon as possible. Bessent said the administration is complying with the orders and working to understand how to legally fund the $9.2 billion needed for November SNAP payments, while also appealing to Democratic lawmakers to reopen the government. Members of the military were paid on October 31st, despite a lapse in funding during the ongoing government shutdown. The Pentagon and Office of Management of Budget confirmed to USA Today. To cover $5.3 billion in military pay, OMB said officials have pulled monies from three different financial accounts, including $2.5 billion from a military spending account allocated as part of the Big Beautiful Bill. Active duty military service members' regular pay schedule marks Friday, October 31st as a payday per the Department of Defense. They are typically paid twice monthly, including at the middle and end of the month. The FBI arrested multiple people in Michigan, thwarting a potential terrorist attack over Halloween weekend, FBI Director Kash Patel said on Friday morning. 5 people between the ages of 16 and 20 were arrested Friday. Authorities say the plan was inspired by a former Michigan National Guard member who was arrested in May for allegedly planning an ISIS-inspired attack in Detroit. Patel, in a social media post, said that other details about the arrests would be forthcoming. The Dearborn Police Department said on Facebook that it had been made aware that the FBI conducted operations in the city of Dearborn earlier this morning and assured residents there was no current threat to the community. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said Saturday he apologized to President Donald Trump over a political ad that quoted former President Ronald Reagan's 1987 radio address criticizing trade barriers. The ad infuriated Trump, who ended trade talks with Canada and said he plans to hike tariffs on imports of Canadian goods by an extra 10%. Carney said he told Ontario's premier not to run an anti-tariff ad. Trump also alleged that Canada was attempting to meddle with an upcoming case before the Supreme Court looking at the challenges to the administration's tariffs. Asked if he would resume trade negotiations with Carney, Trump said, "No, but I have a very good relationship. I like him a lot." U.S. military drone video surfaced showing suspected operatives of Hamas looting a truck carrying humanitarian aid bound for civilians in Gaza. The video, released by U.S. Central Command, shows suspected Hamas operatives attacking the driver of an aid truck Friday and dragging him to the road's median before fleeing with the vehicle and its cargo. Hamas continues to deprive the people of Gaza of the humanitarian aid they desperately need, Secretary of State Marco Rubio wrote on X. This theft undermines international efforts in support of President Trump's 20-point plan to deliver critical assistance to innocent civilians. President Trump on Friday said he was not considering strikes within Venezuela following reports his administration had identified potential military targets within the country. Trump was asked aboard Air Force One while en route to Florida about those reports and whether he had made up his mind about potential strikes. "No, it's not true," Trump responded. The Wall Street Journal reported Thursday the Trump administration had identified military facilities in Venezuela used to smuggle drugs as potential targets for strikes. The news outlet said Trump had not made a final decision on whether to carry out strikes inside of Venezuela. Federal prosecutors are investigating whether senior leaders of the Black Lives Matter organization defrauded donors who contributed tens of millions of dollars during the 2020 protests, two sources familiar with the probe tell Fox News. The Associated Press first reported that the Justice Department's ongoing inquiry is focused on the foundation's handling of donations collected in the wake of the George Floyd killing, when the group saw a surge of more than $90 million in contributions. The probe is being led by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California in Los Angeles, sources said. Investigators have issued subpoenas and executed at least one search warrant in recent weeks as they examine whether foundation leaders of related organizations improperly managed charitable funds. Working class voters see Democrats as woke, weak, and out of touch, and 6 in 10 have a negative view of the party, concluded a frank internal assessment of the hole the party finds itself in. The 9-month, 21-state research project is the latest in a wave of postmortems and data dives aimed at solving the Democratic Party's electoral challenges after their sweeping losses in 2024. It was funded by Democracy Matters, a nonprofit aligned with flagship Democratic super PAC American Bridge 21st Century, and backed by months of polling, dozens of focus groups, and message testing. American Bridge's project focused exclusively on working-class voters, shedding light on a once core constituency for Democrats that's drifted away from the party over the last decade. And the initial feedback is grim. Working-class voters don't see Democrats as strong or patriotic, while Republicans represent safety and strength for them. These voters can't name what Democrats stand for other than being against Donald Trump, according to the report. Will Smith's 11th inning home run lifted the Los Angeles Dodgers to a 5-4 win over the Toronto Blue Jays in Game 7, securing their second straight World Series championship. Los Angeles rallied from 3-0 and 4-2 deficits and needed a 9th-inning game-tying home run from Miguel Rojas to become MLB's first repeat champion since the 1998-2000 Yankees and the National League's first since the 1975-1976 Reds. Yoshinobu Yamamoto earned the World Series Most Valuable Player award after pitching 2 2/3 scoreless innings in Game 7, just 24 hours after starting Game 6. Yamamoto finished the World Series with a 1.02 ERA, 17 and two-thirds innings, 15 strikeouts, and 3 wins, becoming the first pitcher to record 3 victories in a World Series since Arizona's Randy Johnson in 2001. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Exvadio Podcast Network at exvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.